Good evening, everyone.
Hello,
Good
good evening.
evening.
Good evening.
Hello,
How are you?
Melissa. Hello, Lisa.
Hi, Melissa.
Hey guys,
Hi, Lisa.
I'm not is I don't usually have my camera on, but
Oh,
to have Nick.
okay.
No,
Is
no,
it required?
no, it's not required.
Okay.
I just
But
want
it's nice seeing you.
Yeah,
Nice seeing you guys as well.
you can
whatever
keep
you're
my
comfortable
camera
with.
on, but just saying. If you don't see mine on, that's fine. Um, as Shell is trying to get on and he's saying he can't connect.
Does he have the new app?
I
Tell him
don't know.
update his app.
Okay.
Yeah.
Haven't seen him in a while.
And how was everyone's week this week?
That's very good.
Okay.
I
Today
love him
so far, I mean, it's been
leaving.
good. Yeah.
What you said, Melissa? Sorry.
Today so far, today was an okay day.
Okay, and what about last week?
Last week, everything's great except my struggles with work. So other than like outside of that, I'm life is good.
Okay.
Mhm.
And well, of course, tonight's topic, which is let me just make sure I read the because I have one part of it. Mindset Roundtable, talk your truth. So, what is your truth about work as it relates to work?
What was the question?
Tonight's topic is Mindset Roundtable, talk your truth. So, you just said everything is good except as it relates to work. So, what
Hmm.
happens at work? What is happening? A lot of
Uh,
challenges.
Challenges with who supervises me. So
Okay,
yeah, that kind of thing, and just things just not being structured and unorganized, things like that, which can make your job a little more difficult.
okay.
Hmm.
And you are in the medical arena as well?
Yes.
Okay, okay,
Hmm.
okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
And the things that are not structured or in order, is it something that you can influence or not really?
I've tried.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I feel like at this point I've spoken a little too much. So it's I for myself, I came to the decision that I can't change it. It's going to remain the same. So that I can have a peace of mind, I need to just remove myself from it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So when you try to um show, so you try to show them a different way on a lot of in different instances.
I'm sorry, what?
Do you try to show them a different way? Like, we should do it like this. Can we try it like this? What do you think about doing it like this? Or is there policies in place where you can't really change what is happening?
I could if the right people heard me.
Hmm,
Hmm.
okay. And the right people are above your current supervisor.
Correct.
Okay.
And I've actually already had conversations with those people. So a little bit changed, as of Friday. So we'll see how it flows this week coming up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
Well, all right. Well, that is some progress.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is
So
certainly some progress, but let us keep us updated, and hopefully with the things, we could discuss some things that would also assist you in moving forward.
yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of
Mhm.
the times when we look at things and how things happening, sometimes you really have, just as you said, sometimes you have to slow step back and kind of observe more and
Mhm.
see, okay, what is this here to teach me? What do I
Yes.
have to learn? Because a
Mhm.
lot of times in situations we tend to get very frustrated and overwhelmed, which is, this is what we do. This is the default. But probably for this week, look and see and ask the question, what is there for me to learn in this situation, and see what
Yeah.
happens. But Eve, you are making some progress though, so
Yeah.
yeah, just continue with it and keep, observing. Yes, Catherine, I've seen that you have your hand raised. Your mic is off.
Yeah, I was just going to say to one of the befitment posts today is talking about how you can make your own job exciting, even where it seems as though it's a dead end, it seems boring, and how you can go into yourself and look for ways that you could work around what seems to be a block, a barrier. So I was just reflecting on how Melissa's instance actually aligns with the post that is on the befitment
Mm,
Facebook today about ways, thinking of ways that you can make what seems to be a boring job or a challenging job or something that you think may be beyond your capacity. And when you look at ways, for me, I like to break up things. If it looks as though it's going to be this way, I'm looking at what are some of the things to give me the peace of mind, because I may not be able to affect the others immediately. And when I worked in corporate, what I would do is if there was something that there was a barrier or there was something where I needed another level of influence to advocate for my
mm-hmm.
ideas,
Mm-hmm.
I would begin the work quietly as much as I could do, and then identify who is the advocate that most needs the shine, which one most needs the recognition, because sometimes you have to give up the recognition, your own recognition. And
Mm-hmm.
once I located that person, then and the person had to be somebody who had the air of influence.
Right.
They had the air of someone influential. So
Mm-hmm.
once I would locate that person, I would simply meander into their space just around the end of day when I know they would have time to chat and begin some pleasantries and eventually work around to an example, just a random example of
Mm-hmm.
some things that may could improve or be done differently. And I would share some of my thoughts with that person,
Mm-hmm.
knowing full well that that person wanted the shine. So it would put them in a nice light with their colleagues at the higher level. And without fail, that particular individual always used to promise to represent my ideas at
Mm-hmm.
the senior management level. And he would be pleased to say it was me,
Mm-hmm.
but he would never do that. But it's okay because the idea was to get it done
Right.
and to see. So that is one of the ways I went about it in corporate life. And sure enough, he would run with it and he would get the shine. But the implementation was on my desk or it was in my unit. And so there was nowhere else in the organization for it to be implemented. So once it got implemented, of course, he gets in the shine, and then my boss is getting scolded for not coming up with such great ideas.
Mm-hmm.
And then my boss would come downstairs and say, well, why can't you have good ideas like this and get it done? So then I had the opportunity to get it done. Yes. So that I would just update my resume, been there, done that, implemented, designed and implemented without focusing on, because I know you wouldn't get the shine. So that's another strategy that you could use. You could identify someone who likes shine at the
Yeah.
higher level and just float some arbitrary examples past them and see where it goes and see if you get some changes there. Then
For
you
me,
update
it's
your
yeah.
resume.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, because like for me it's not even about, I don't want it to be reckoned, oh, Melissa said this and that's why it's this way. Is as long as it happens, it just brings your team together in general, right? When you're working together, not against each other. So again, I don't have to be recognized for something being implemented. As long as it happens, it makes all of our lives easier every single day when
Yeah.
we work together. So yeah.
And then on your resume, you would then go and update your resume and you say, part of a team that implemented X, Y, and Z successfully. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's what I had to share.
Could
Yes.
I say something to Melissa now?
Mhm.
I
Yes.
think as much as like Catherine is saying, you kind of whisper into that person's ear, so because they're going to go forth and put forth your idea. I
Hmm.
think we also have to get to the point where we see people for who they are and accept them for who they are. And you, as a person, whatever you're going through in your job, should just focus on you and work on you, because
Hmm.
you can't really change other people's mindset, right? You go and you do the best the best you can, give 100% of yourself, focus on your job, but let the other people do what they do, and eventually it's kind of going to work itself out if you know what you want for yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you know what, I'm in a position, I'm not comfortable here, then you sit back, reanalyze, reassess what's best for me, what's the next step for me. You don't necessarily have to, go whisper into someone's ear, but you find where your peace lies,
Hmm.
what makes you happy, and where you want to be. And sometimes we're in situations where this is where we're supposed to be at the moment, but this is not the end goal. So this could have been the position that you got in to get you to that place where the final destination or the next step in terms of where you need to be.
Hmm.
So it's about you working on you, because the only person you have control of is yourself,
Right.
and allow other people to be who they are. It's not really like you're concerned what they do. Just know that you give 100% of yourself. You be at peace with whatever decision you come up with and whatever decision you make, and you do what's best for you.
Yes.
Yes. And
Thank you, Lisa.
I hope, Melissa, we would be seeing you next week and you would be saying, listen, so many things have changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have a lot of food for thought. So, how has everyone's week been?
Could I just say one other thing for Melissa now?
Hmm.
Um, just be patient with yourself. You know what I mean? Change doesn't happen overnight. So just be patient
Yeah.
with yourself. And like I said, go back to knowing what you want and just putting the steps in place. But more than anything, be patient with yourself.
Hmm.
Okay.
Because a lot of times, that is something I was having a discussion with someone yesterday about that, because the person was explaining that their son right now, he has a business, and he thinks that because he is talented, he should be have everything by tomorrow morning. So he think he should be rich, the business should grow, it should be developed. And of course, that is the society that we live in, of course, driven by social media, because a lot of times social media doesn't show the truth, the entire truth. That's fine. We need some entertainment. Leave him or her.
They can see Jack in the video.
Yes. So you see a lot of times, because of social media, remember, people not showing you the entire story. They're showing you part of the picture.
Hmm.
And that is why things take time sometimes. Just as when you plant a plant and it would take time, sometimes you have to try again. Like with me, I killed a few. So I had to rethink, okay, Adana, something is happening here. And then I realized, okay, let me enrich the soil more. And in doing so, then the plant started to flourish. So you really have to, you had to be patient and also look at the process. And as Lisa said, what is required for you, that is what you're focusing on. And then you would
Mhm.
realize, listen, some things, they are what they are.
Mhm.
And then you would recognize that even within the things, things are still, they will come together and they will work out as they should. And in the end, there is always purpose in the lesson. Always, always, always. It's never really about any person or what somebody did. It's always purpose in the lesson, because the lesson is what you need to move forward at the end of the day. That is what is always required, the lesson in it for you. Because sometimes you might think about something somebody did to you 10 years ago and they, somewhere having fun on a beach, tropics, drinking alcohol. Yeah. So, just pay attention to the lesson and you're good to go.
For
You
sure.
will be good to go. So, for everyone else, tonight's topic is Mindset Roundtable Talk Your Truth. So, when you think about your truth and where you are currently, what is happening with you currently?
I think some some little leaps and bounds. Sometimes you seem to be stuck in one place, and then some things come along, and you say, I that had to be a little new, a different level,
Oh,
because
Emma, I'm listening.
if if it were a previous time, I would have handled something differently. And two things happened within the space of like about 3 days, which allowed me to sit and assess. The one had to do with, well, both of them had to do with me really, and one had to do with what is important. What really is important here? What is important is the are your feelings more important, or the goal more important, the project more important? And the second one had to do with a little bit deeper self reflection, which was the question of when a song was being sung and I was listening to the words, and it dawned on me that I would usually sing that song, but I would sing it with other people in mind. And it was as though you were looking at other people and you could identify. But for this particular instance, it was a case of wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Mind your own business. While you are focusing on other people, how do the words of this song refer to you? And therefore, the time you may spend even a moment thinking about someone else, see how it is speaking to you. And where there are gaps, then address those gaps. Where there's a question of stopping something that you would normally do, or doing something you would not normally do, or whatever it is, it was a question of let this be about you. Let the whole song be about you, as opposed to anyone else, letting anyone else into that space where the words are resonating. And so for me, it was a nice week last week. The ability to look at all those different things and link them, and to say, well, the old you would not have noticed that at all. The So there was a realization and an acknowledgement, which is something I don't usually do with myself. That Yes, growth is taking place. Whether you consider it slow, whether you consider it minimal, there's growth. And once there's growth, something is going on. So this for me was a good space, a really nice space to be in for the last 4 days, I would say, last 4 days. So yeah, that was my truth. Yeah.
Because what you said is so monumental in terms of focusing on yourself. And I know Lisa spoke of it earlier as well, because I don't think people understand the extent to which sometimes we sit and consume ourselves with other people. It is very extensive. The amount of time that we spent consumed by other people, and what this one is doing, what this one is not doing, what they are doing to help, what they are not doing to help, what they put on yesterday, what they eat for lunch. Oh my, it is a lot. And if you put that time and effort into yourself, just think of how much you would really achieve. Because at the end of the day, we are all creators, but then your truth, your results would let you know what you are creating. And that is why accepting it is very important. You really have to accept where you are and then proceed forward. And you don't have to feel guilty and you don't have to feel ashamed, because that is where you currently are. And because of it, okay, this is where I am. Okay. And there was a post over the weekend that says you are where you are supposed to be. And look within, then around you, and start from exactly where you currently are. And sometimes that is all is required. But if you don't pay attention to your environment, then you would think that you're lacking something or you do not have something. But if you look within, because of course within you, you would know what is your next step. And then you just sit down within the environment that you're currently in and you look around, you would realize, wait, I needed something, but I have this. I needed, but I have this. And you're able to work all the things together to make it what you need it to be. But sometimes you're so consumed by other people, you're not even aware that you already have everything that you require for yourself. It is
And
right
Adana,
within yourself and right within the environment.
in the second instance, Adana, I think a lot of the issue there is we really believe we are caring about the other people. And that is why your focus is on the other person succeeding, the other person. So you're hearing the words of the song and you're thinking of this person, you're thinking of that person. If you could smooth their way and change them, you would do so like Superman or Wonder Woman. But when it comes down to it, is the programming of always studying other people first
Is a program, is a
is
pattern, you know.
something you have to constantly be aware of. And if you're trying to walk away from there, you have to daily, minute by minute, question almost every action. Now, some things may not please the people who are now seeing the new you, but you have to still keep going along. Otherwise, you go back into the old way of
Doing things.
putting someone else's needs before yours and trying to see that they are doing well or all is well with them, as opposed to just focusing on what it is you're supposed to be focusing on and letting, because that particular song, I mean, I'd sung it how many times already, and it was only on that day that the realization came. Listen, take those words and apply it to you. Oh, mind anybody else? Let everybody else battle their own canoes, swim in the ocean, whatever they have to do to get themselves back to land. But you take those words for yourself and go with a fine tooth comb the same way you want to use a fine tooth comb for everybody else. Use a fine tooth comb to see if you're missing anything, if anything is missing in your garden or going awry in your garden, and leave everything else. And it is quite, it was quite a kind of liberating thing to realize that this was what was going on for such a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and to sort of know that you can make a little change here, just even if it's a little change. So it was nice for me. It was really, it was nice. It was nice.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello, Mr. S.
How are you?
I am doing much better today. It is so good to be with you all. I know I've been missing in action for a bit. Had other
Yeah.
and life was life in and is life in. So I just wanted to piggyback on some of the things that you were saying, Catherine, and also something that Lisa said to Melissa uh, is in terms of being having grace for ourselves. And to Catherine's point, learning is taking place. And this is my own testimony, if you would. I had a situation where, sometimes you behave, you respond, or you react even so-called appropriately, right? Appropriate in terms of the normal, everyday, what everyone else is doing. But being in this space, we are learning to do better, right? To be better and to do better. And there was a situation that happened, and I found myself responding in the old way. And I was like, honestly, I got more upset at myself for being in that situation. And at the same time, I'm realizing that I am realizing the way that I reacted. So I
Mm-hmm.
guess my point is, because at least at this point, I'm able to assess my response, even though it was an adverse experience, I'm still taking it as a good thing, because now at least I can step back and realizing it. And obviously, I could give myself a bit more grace earlier on, because I spent a couple of days going through it, almost grieving over my response. Uh, and again, as Lisa said it, it's like, okay, how do we acknowledge where we falter, where we're not optimal, acknowledging it, letting it go, and resume our journey, because the journey is more important. Instead of resting on the negative, we need to learn to accept and
Mm-hmm.
continue.
But
So,
how is it faltering if you are in the process of learning?
well, I say faltering in terms of this lesson, at least from my standpoint. I personally, maybe I'm being totally conceited here. I would have hoped and I would have liked to have mastered these lessons. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
the sense of, it's not like I'm to be perfect. I'm not expecting to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
However, I was hoping to exercise more of the muscles that we have been learning. And in this particular instant, I saw it coming. And instead of me just say, okay, here it is, here's another opportunity to exercise what you learn, I did not. And I let myself reacted or behave. And again, the way I reacted or responded wasn't necessarily bad. I think sometimes people think that just because you are learning these things, I think there's a natural law, and I acted within the natural law. However, I do think what we are learning is to go above the everyday so-called normal law. And I think we are learning to be better and to do better. And this is what I meant by alter, but I understand your point. I know where you're going with that, right? We are exactly where we need to be. That is part of the process and go.
Mm-hmm. But you're
But
paying attention. What is
yes,
important is that you're paying attention, like, okay, There is a, because again, remember, the day and life in general is made up of a series of moments, and it's just being the best version of yourself in each moment. So in that moment, you say, okay, you know,
Not optimal.
yes. And then it's just, again, just as you said, once you identify the opportunity, again, take a breath.
That's right.
Take a breath when you see the opportunity again. Take a breath. And that's the same thing we were talking about, being patient with ourselves, because remember, this takes a lot of practice. Remember, we have been in these patterns for years.
Yes.
Being in patterns for years and coming out of patterns overnight, it doesn't really go together. A lot of times we think that I should be over this, I should be reacting differently, I should, but with practice, you would realize that, okay, it's a step by step process.
That's
And
right.
just as I was explaining with, I was listening to someone talking about their son, and he thinks because he has talent, he should be successful tomorrow. Yes. And I was explaining, it takes more than talent, it takes effort, it takes discipline, it takes commitment, it takes a lot more. And also it takes practice, because everything in life is a process, but a lot of times we're so consumed with a lot of different things, you're not seeing the process unfold. But the process is unfolding. But what is important is recognizing in the moment, and you are at that point where you are recognizing in the moment. So once you're there, you have the opportunity to utilize what you have learned. But
In the journey.
yes, 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 yes. And before, I know Catherine has her hand up, let me just let you all know that tonight is really Talk Your Truth, and it is in any area of your life. So if you would like to share any stories, or if you need clarity as it relates to any area, you could feel free, and we could, discuss it, and you would gain some clarity. And please note that this is a safe space, because we are all here because we would want better for ourselves. We want to be better in certain areas. And just as Jill said, we want to respond better. We want to just be the best version of ourselves. And this is why we are here. And we have all been through experiences. So feel free to share, because another thing, of course, well, I'm not sure if all of you all know, but in Trinidad, we go and we have sessions in schools in the Shogunas area that we are in. And what we notice is that the kids, they want the help, but they don't want their friends to know that they want the help. And it's the same thing with here. You might want the help, but you don't want people to know. But as soon as they start to talk, everybody have the same issue. Because we are all going through similar situations, similar things. So you really don't need to feel ashamed, or feel any way, or feel guilty, or feel, no, this is too bad to talk about. We have all been there, and we have all been through it. So please feel free. Yes, Katrin, I'm seeing that you have your hand raised.
What I was going to say to Mr. S is that the growth is already there, because once you can recognize that maybe there was a different option, a different choice that once you have that awareness, you're already 10 steps ahead. You're already 10 steps ahead, because without the ability to identify that there was a different way I could have handled this, then it means that you just lack the knowledge altogether, you lack the awareness altogether, and you would have responded in the way that you responded, but without any consciousness that there was a different way. So clap for yourself. The growth is right there. So you're right where you need to be. You are right where you need to be.
Could I just jump piggyback off of Catherine? Yes. For SGL, it is just the fact that you're able to identify that shows growth, and because you've heard the tools, and you're consciously aware of the tools or things that you should implement, and you heard it, so you know which tool to pull out of the toolbox that would have been, you, as you would call it, more appropriate for the situation. So kudos to you. I wanted to say though, in terms of letting other people influence us, or like Catherine was talking about, when you, like, you heard the song and you're thinking about other people instead of applying the words and the meanings to yourself. It varies depending on the individual on the other end, because when it comes to your loved ones, like your kids, your family and stuff like that, you always tend to, well, I know I did, negate myself,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when, because everybody in their with family and stuff, you always have like a family member or your mom or someone that you would give your last to, because especially now knowing what I know, I would love everyone to experience what I experience and understand the depth of, my understanding. And I would, we want the best for our friends, families, whoever we think is like close to us. And like I said, a lot of times we negate ourselves, but we have to understand, like, we are all individuals. As much as we might want the best for everyone, they have to want the best for themselves. And I mean, I battle with this a lot when it comes to my kids, family members, siblings. Like, they have to want it for themselves. They have to be willing to put the work in to reap the reward for themselves. You can't like force feed them. They actually have to put the work in. And yes, you would like them to, because I mean, I went through what I went through with my depression. I know it was not easy. It was a tough battle getting out of it. And at where I'm at now, I'm in a lot better space. And I would, because of how I feel, I would like everyone to feel the way I
Mm-hmm.
feel. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But once again, I have to realize that I could only change myself.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do anything for anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to the general public, so to speak, we are so caught up in what people think about us, what they say about us, how they look at us, how society think we should live. And once again, we lose ourselves into trying to fit into the norms of everyone else and the concerns of everyone else and trying to please everyone else and lose ourselves once again. So in different situations, we give up ourselves and lose our identity and lose our true self trying to fit in. But I mean, I'm not saying this to be harsh or thing, but one of the things I always tell myself is you need to mind your own business. Mind your own business, because there's so much going on in my life. There's so much I want to work on in my life. There's so much things I want to improve on my life. I don't have time to deal with everyone else's issue. I could want the best for them. I could show them things, but I can't do it for them, and I can't lose myself for their sake. It's like when they say you're in an airplane. If the airplane is going on, put on your oxygen mask first, because then you can help other people. So I can't give everything and allow my cup to be empty to try to fill someone else's cup who probably doesn't even want their cup to be filled because they're comfortable where they're at. So that was just my take on.
That is the foundation upon which a lot of things are built, but we are now realizing that you really have to start with you, because of course you cannot pour from an empty cup, and you cannot allow yourself to be consumed with what the things that are happening with everybody else, because you might be looking at your neighbor and reminding them to water their grass, prune the trees, and then, as Catherine said, sing a song for yourself. How does these same things apply to me? How can I adopt these things when the opportunity comes? What do I do? What choice do I make? Do I make the same choices, or do I make a different choice because I really want something different and I want to experience a different way of living? So it is always in the moment when you have the choice to make, you really have to make the different choice in that moment if you really want different for yourself. Because when the opportunities keep coming and you keep making the same choices, then those same opportunities will continue to fade away, because you might say that you want it, but your actions are showing something totally different. And then, of course, altogether, the universe would say, well, I'm not interested, so let me just send these over to somebody else. Because again, at the end of the day, truth is truth. And if you're not paying attention, you certainly will remain stuck and life will continue to flow on. And you would be like an onlooker, when you go window shopping and you're seeing everybody else experiencing things, enjoying things, progressing with life, and then you might be stuck in the same space wondering why this keeps happening. But in the moment when you have a choice to make, yes, I know that you want to tell this particular person something and you want them to feel the pain that they made you feel, and you want them to all the different things that you want them to feel and whatever it is, but that comes at the cost of what to you? Because that is something that we really don't consider at the end of the day. Because in one of the earlier sessions that we had, in terms of, you're holding this thing or you're holding this person in mind, and then you hold that for so long, turn into so much time that has passed, and then you end up affecting your body. So now all the focus that you had on everybody else, now it's on you. Of course, automatically you have to go by the doctor, have to buy medication, I need to start to exercise, I need to eat healthier, when you could have been implementing these things day by day in small increments. But you were not paying attention to you. You were consumed with what is happening with everyone else. And it really is important to start with you. And yes, we have been in patterns for so long. It is very difficult to adapt and adopt new ways of living. But if you really want to experience something different, you really have to make a different choice. Catherine, I'm seeing that you have your hand raised.
Yes, I was just piggybacking on what Lisa was talking about. And one of the things that came to me with this song was that, and listening to Lisa speak, is that sometimes we want to share a joy that we are experiencing, or we want to share a breakthrough in our life that we are experiencing, and we look across the fence and we think that the other person needs that same kind of breakthrough, but the other person is an individual with a different journey. So what we are seeing in that person might be their truth. There is nothing that requires fixing. They do not require us to help them. And in that moment, I had to look at, and you say you're quite right, when it comes to family and whatnot, because that's the way we were groomed and raised and programmed. But when you had to look and say, I do not know this person. I am acquainted with this person. I You see the person, you can recognize the person, but do you really know the person? And to know the person is to know their truth, the way they know themselves, the way they are designed and meant to go. And that will never happen for you. You cannot know somebody because you're not in their shoes, really. We could think we know, and we could think that they should want better for themselves. But suppose they are at where they're supposed to be. And this is where the realization of you you want something for somebody who may already be where they're supposed to be. And this is why it is so important to mind your business, as you said, because in you thinking and us thinking that we can assist somebody else, it has surely to come from a position of superiority, that we know what is best for the other person. And it is there in that little space that you really have to work on detaching yourself from all the old ways of doing things. As a parent, you have to really work at it now, drive down. You have to, for me, I know I'm moving into the stage where you literally have to bite down on your cheek and say, no, I'm not going to do what I would normally do. You see, whether it's person, place, or thing, whether it's help, whatever it is, because the everything else from before was based on you know what is best for the other person, and you do not real this is the realization I had in the song. You do not know if this person is already where they're supposed to be, and therefore you trying to get them to somewhere else. This is their own journey, and only they know their truth.
Mhm.
And as painful as it may seem to watch them, whatever it is they're going through, or when they start to fall or start to rise, because it's not just a question of falling, start to rise, you have to still learn now whatever is is. And as a parent, it's really, really difficult. It's really, really difficult. But to me, this is the challenge. This is what I learned over the weekend, particularly in the song. Let things and just focus on you. So there would be some things that you would normally have done. There will be some things you would normally feel, oh, you need to do. And it's not going to happen overnight because you're so accustomed.
Mhm.
But this is where I am right now, working on that aspect. Let things be. Things are the way they are. Let them be. I don't know the person. I don't know. I think in my mind I know because of familiarity.
Mhm.
And it goes the same with persons we work with. Even if they tell us their life story from morning to night, we still don't know what really is inside of that person,
No.
who that person truly, truly, truly is.
Mhm.
So this is where the mind you comes in, and this is where I am working to deprogram myself, because I was raised as a child. I'm part of a twin, and I was set as the responsible one from as early as age 4. So I was expected to be responsible for another person who I swear had the energy of 5 Tasmanian devils. See? So, and I was held accountable for those persons' actions and their well-being, and it grew and it grew and it grew and it grew. So the programming was very early. So it just morphed into more things. You have an offspring, same thing.
Mhm.
But now I'm working on drop off that anchor from your neck. You're drowning and you go dead.
Mhm.
And you would like to see the rest of the world before you transition. So drop that one.
Yeah.
That's where I am.
Because even when you think about it, and I know a lot of us have great intentions, and yes, you might want the best for others, but you would recognize that you wanting the best for other people does not change a thing. It does nothing else but frustrate the living delight out of your existence.
Because it's your best.
It is
You didn't
your
even ask them
best.
what their best is. It's your best and your
Exactly.
expectations.
And
So,
imagine, imagine you want say to buy a Mazda, and this person is trying to shove a Nissan car down your throat. But that is not what you want. Because somebody said, oh, Melissa, great meeting. Okay, yes, Melissa, thank you for coming. See you next week. Everybody, we are all individuals. We are all individuals. And yes, sometimes based on what has worked for you, you want to let the other person know, listen, this is what has worked for me, and da 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 da. But what in doing that, and as Katrin said, in terms of responsibility, a lot of times you think that you're responsible, so you always want to check in. So if you tell them do this sequence of steps and they don't do it, you frustrate yourself. You frustrate yourself. I told them to do this and they didn't do it, and they're going to come back tomorrow again and tell me the same thing. And listen, you wanting the best for somebody else changes absolutely nothing. Because at the end of the day, just as Catherine was explaining, wherever they are, that is where they are meant to be, to learn whatever they need to learn. If you are required to give them advice on something to guide them in a particular way, you release the guidance. So if it, you might say the thought comes to tell this person A. When the thought comes to tell the person A, you let the person you call them, you let them know A and hang up your phone. A lot of times you want to call them and let them know A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, and you go straight down to the that was not what came. The thought comes, let this person know A. They would know why A. You may not understand, and you're trying to buffer it with a lot of things and support it with this because you see, and no, 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 no. I saw you post something on social media and this just came. No, no, no. Tell them A and enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you have a great week and hang up the phone. You know? And we are all on different journeys. What will work for you, even though it has worked for you, you think it would work for SGL, it will not work for him. What would work for Catherine may not work for Lisa. It certainly may not work. And that is why you really have to spend time with you. Sit in the quietness because, of course, the thoughts are coming. But what do we do with the thoughts? We ignore the thoughts. We always, always, always ignore the thoughts. And that is why you would recognize, why am I still stuck? Why am I still in this space? Anastasia, I saw that you had your hand raised earlier.
Yes, I was just good night.
Good
I
night.
was just remembering that it's just yesterday my daughter and I had that talk, and I'm
Mhm.
telling her, except somebody don't ask me for my help, I am not running to help anybody. Put. That was me. That's how I used to be. But except somebody, or I get some deep conviction, yes, give somebody this help, right? Other than that, I'm not doing that because you have to leave people, let people be. And to me, it is just so relaxing to know that it have something called leave people, let people be. You be and leave them, let them be. To me, that take a lot of load off of my shoulder. And I comfortable with living like that right now,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they would recognize too within that, and while you focus on you, those same people they would come to you to find out, what you're doing. I recognizing this change within you and I recognizing your karma, whatever it is. I recognizing, certain things, and they would come to ask you, what are you doing? And you see in an instance like that, you now have the opportunity to let them know because you have become the thing that you may have been talking about for all this time. So a lot of times
And
it
then,
is, uh-huh.
no, what I realize is that society, I don't know if society is an organization or whoever they are,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm realizing that society have a lot of different arms. And sometimes you get yourself into these things and you get to realize that is a one size fit all thing is what it is all about. And they expect everybody to be the same way. And
Yes.
if you're not the same way, they have all kind of labels to put on you. You're
Yes.
this, you're that, you're the other because you're not like everybody else. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And we have to be so careful getting ourselves into things. And now I realizing that now in hindsight. You have to be careful getting yourself into a lot of things because these little organizations or whatever you may call it is designed for you to just be a one size fit all.
Mm-hmm.
You're not becoming you. You're not. You don't even know you. You're lost in the group. You don't even
Yes.
know you. And any, I come to real, I come to this decision. Anything that I open up with that I had to lose myself, I don't want to be in it. Yeah, I don't want to be in it. I want to come to my fullness. I always say I want to be the best me that God created me to be. And I cannot be the best me if I am in things that is a one size fit all.
Yeah.
So I just forgetting that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because the one size fits all is very, very limited and restricted. Eh? A lot of times you don't even realize how much it is, but it is very, very, very limited and restricted because if you're supposed to blossom in another way because you're thinking you're a mango tree and you're thinking you're a cactus. And when in mango season, you focus somewhere else on something else, not realizing that this is your season to bloom. So you certainly would be limiting yourself in all areas. Kim, I'm seeing that you have your hand raised.
Yes, I just wanted to share that the one size fits all thing, think it, has been getting me in trouble with myself for years because due to the stuff that I had learned, that you need to put your best self forward and be your best, do your best from childhood onwards. So you expected, I have the expectation or had the expectation, I'm now learning to put it down of the same from others. That others will put their best forward, their best foot forward and whatnot. And when that doesn't happen, I when that didn't happen and when it doesn't happen, I would get angry. And now is only now you're learning that it's about you. It's not about the other person and how they react and whether they are putting their best foot forward or not. That's not your concern because you don't know and it's not your business. And it was a tough pill to swallow. It's a tough pill to swallow because you grew up from childhood learning that that is what you are supposed to do and that's what you're supposed to expect. And the thing is, the expectation has been put in expectation. They have a saying, expecting is making a fool of yourself and the other person, or the other person and yourself, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I am realizing they expecting making a fool of me, not the other person, because they don't have to, whatever my expectations, I won't even say keep it to myself straight away because it's about me. So whatever the other person does is theirs to hold, focus on me. So I would not have the reactions of always being angry. And so, and as I said, it's a tough pill to swallow, but I am putting down the expecting. I will focus on being my best. Don't expect, don't, no. That's first stop. That's it. I'll be my best first stop. No more. Not about the other person, no more. Because I have been spinning top in mud, getting angry for so many years, and it's time for it to end. So yeah, that is my truth and has been my battle for years. And it's only now I have, yeah, seen the light. So yeah, so no more of expecting that everyone, it's not a cookie cutter thing. And don't expect, no, focus on me, my business, focus on me, focus on I. Yeah, that's it.
Yes. That's another thing again, a serious thing that is limit us to our expectations. And again, these are patterns that will form since we were so young. And it's only now, in looking back and probably as doing introspection, you would recognize that, wait, these things are serving me, you know. Even though this is what was taught, even though this is what I learned, these things really, really, really not serving me. And sometimes you really have to sit and look within yourself and recognize what is not serving you, and of course, make a different choice. Because again, we limit ourselves so much in so many ways unknowingly, yeah? Not recognizing that if I had just followed the thought that said, make this phone call, the thought that said, send this email, the thought that said, sign up for this course, and allow things to just flow as they should. But a lot of times we hold on to what has been. Because let me give you a story. Last week, I left work kind of late. So trying to figure out, I wanted to eat noodles. So to find a Chinese restaurant that opened after 9 o'clock was close to zero. So I think, and I said, where to go, where to go, where to go, where to go. And then I heard this place, and I swear that I was never going back there. I had a bad experience with people never getting my money again. Blah, blah, blah. Called another restaurant when they told me $72 for some noodles. I said, thank you. So calling other restaurants, they closed. This one saying, no, we can't wait for you to reach down the road, blah, blah. I end up right where I did not want to go initially, because I swear these people off the face of the earth. So I said, okay, let me go. And then when I called them to place that order, they asking me for my contact number and what number I usually use to place the order. And I said, I have not ordered from you all in a very long time. And they said, well, then you need to come in to place the order. So now I like, so I have to come in, place the order, and wait. I say, okay, we flowing with this. We are flowing with this. Mind you, I went there. I did not spend 10 minutes there. I received my food. I had no complaints. And again, had I decided I am not going by any means necessary back to that place, then you would recognize that you're limiting yourself based on one experience that happened years, and this was years ago. One experience that happened years ago. The person who probably answered the phone and messed up the order the last time or whatever happened, probably not even working there again. So again, when the thoughts come, you really need to follow the thoughts. Because a lot of times we're not in the present moment. We constantly living based on past experiences, or we constantly living based on worries of the future. And that is why it is really important to recognize where your truth currently lies. You know, what is truth for you? Where do you stand? What do you want for your life? Do you want to continue as you are? Do you want to experience something different? Do you want to become the best version of yourself? What do you want for you? It really, really, really important. But the first thing it starts with is really acceptance of where you currently are. You don't have to feel guilty. You do not have to feel ashamed. But you really have to accept where you currently are before you can move forward. And especially understanding that you are there because at the point in time you were doing your best. So that is where you are. And now that you know different, just start from there. And a few weeks ago, we had the topic of starting ugly. You start from there, wherever you are. Because when you hear all the inspirational stories and what they started with, it was not much at all. When you hear all these stories of all some of the most successful people in the world, and you hear what they started with, they did not start with much at all. And it could be the same thing for you, but you have to start. You can't just continue sit down, scrolling, watching all the series on Netflix. What you're really going to accomplish? You're really not going to accomplish anything. And again, the opportunities, they just probably they pass in front of the house. Well, she's not outside. I'll pass back next week. Pass in front of the house. She's not outside. I'll pass back next year. passing from the house, she's not outside. So let me just stop passing here altogether. And in doing so, you're really creating a lot of limits. And you don't even know the extent to which your life could bloom and flourish. You really, really don't know. And then wanting the best for yourself. What else is there? Why not be the best version of you and experience all the things that you always want to experience? If you just put in the small steps today, and in each moment, you know, because it is all about you, it all starts with you. And sometimes you think it's some big extravagant thing that you have to do, especially with me with exercise. But now it's becoming so much easier. And thanks to the exercise, we went on a walk on Saturday, and it was so much easier than I thought it would be, because of course a lot of people tell you, listen, that is a walker and that is this and that is that. And it was not as bad as everyone made it out to seem at all. It was not. And I know it is because of the small steps that we have been putting in with exercise. And it's just 2 days out of the week, 2 days out of the week. And it's nothing major when you really look at it. The next day, you could still function, you could still walk after the exercise, but it's really important to implement the little steps every day. You really, really need to implement it's about the little steps, the little steps. Stop looking at the whole pathway. You don't even know what the whole pathway is, because a lot of times life just showing you what the next step is. And sometimes you put expectations on the pathway. You create this whole reality in your head about what the pathway should be. The reality not even real, and that is what you're holding to. And a lot of times that is what you're looking out for, and you're looking for life to respond a particular way, and life will not bend to what you think it should be. Life would only allow to happen what is required for you, for your development, for your growth, for your understanding at the end of the day. And that is why being present in the moment is also very important, because within that moment, that is where you can make the best choices for yourself when faced with a decision. Because if you make it out of haste and you make it out of anger and you make it, and I was about to make the choice based on something that had happened years ago and not go to that place, you know, every moment you have an opportunity to make a different choice. Are you going to continue as you are and continue seeing the same patterns, living the same life, feeling stuck, feeling miserable, feeling like you have no energy, just as I was before starting to exercise, and then wondering, why am I feeling like this every day? I used to reach home and collapse. Sometimes I would get up to start to do things at 10 o'clock at night. And then your whole day gone. Now you're going to sleep by 3 o'clock. So the next day, the Sunday, whole day gone again, and Monday is back to square one. And now you might reach home, you have some energy, you put your clothes to wash, you start to cook, you clean, you do what is required. But again, a lot of times we just focus. Sometimes we focus so much on the mind, not realizing that the body is another aspect that we need to pay attention to. And then some of us, we focus so much on the body that we don't realize the soul is another aspect that we need to pay attention to. A lot of times we out of balance because there is no balance between the three aspects of your being. And focus is only placed on one. So whereas you might focus on being better as it relates to your mind, but what are you implementing for your body? And what are you implementing for your soul? Because of course, this is the most forgotten part. For a lot of us, we don't even know this exists. So it's forgotten altogether, and we have learned that the power begins in your mind, and now you're learning something different. So pay attention, just as it coming up to the three aspects of your being. Pay attention. So even if you say, okay, I'm logging on to be fitment an hour Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, And even on Friday, you could stay 10 minutes, 15, 20, however long in the app reading the things. Then you would say for your body, let me just start. Even, of course, with us with premium membership, you have the opportunity to also exercise with us online. And even if you do not do that option, you could decide I'm walking around my room, I'm walking up the hill. You just do something. It could be for as little as 30 minutes, or you could even take part in the Fuel and Flex challenge with the squats. And then for your soul, you could say, okay, let me try this meditation thing. I'm hearing about this all the time and I'm not sure. And it's just about sitting in stillness. And even as the thoughts come, observe the thoughts, release them. And then you would find, I really starting to feel a lot calmer. And just schedule time for the three aspects of your being every day. And even as it relates to your soul, it could be taking deep breaths for 30 seconds. That is all. Taking deep breaths for 30 seconds or whatever flows to you or comes to you naturally, and start there, but just start. Start, 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 start. This should be a motto for 2025, because we will not be having the same conversation we had last year when December 31st reached. Because a lot of persons, we reach November and everybody was like, wait a month again and the year has ended. Yes. We half of the year is already almost gone. Half of the year is already almost gone. So, just a little food for thought. Kim, I know that you had your hand up for a little while. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Is just to say yes. Start like last class. Start ugly. Mommy, I need to know. Yeah, because there's. It's not about perfection. Mommy,
No.
mommy, I need to show. It's not about perfection. I need to set and do this. And there's nothing you have to fix. Because I spent so many years trying to fix myself. And sometimes, fix others. Because I was fast, trying to fix others too. But fix myself, you know, and think because, as mentioned before, things you taught, and it just start ugly, start as is. There's nothing to fix, and the whole illusion of perfection, you know, you are perfectly imperfect. There's perfection in your as you are. And that keeps us back and keeps us so stuck. So it has kept me stuck. So when you were speaking, that just reminded me, nothing to fix. Just start.
Yeah. And it's just about being the best version of yourself in the moment. Because sometimes to go up to work, I stay by an aunt and uncle. And it's only recently I noticed that I said, I think I'm here for a reason, and I wasn't paying attention because my aunt, she is very meticulous about each thing that she does. So much so that it is irritating to me. So sometimes I just want to run out the house. If there is something that I go trade in a piece of foil, no, put that in a. And she always wants whatever it is that she is doing it to the best of her ability. And I say, Adana, you could probably learn something in this moment instead of just resisting everything. Because even when I go there and she make up the bed, I like, you went hotel school or something. Why this bed make up so pristine? And how the pillows position, and even when she taking out food and no, don't mix this with that. And she is, now I'm not saying to go to the extreme of what she does, but it's just about being the best version and doing whatever is the best for yourself in that particular moment. And mind you, everything that she does, because it is meticulous, of course, it requires more effort. And for someone like me, sometimes I want the least among the effort. I just want to go up the road, throw that in piece of foil, and call it a day. And she is very whatever is the best version of this thing to do the best, which requires more effort from me, is what she does. She always chooses the thing that requires more effort to make it the best version. And I really think it's something that, again, this is my truth as well. It is something that I probably need to pay more attention to. But it is not to really be, sometimes you're trying to strive for perfection because you're thinking that is what she is doing, but it's not that. It is about doing everything to the best of your ability, whatever your ability is. That is all that it is. And in doing so, you would realize that you would start to treat yourself first at 100% instead of sometimes, you shortchange yourself. You might start off with the exercise for 2 weeks and then you shortchange yourself. And then you go back to lying down, watching TV, popcorn, whatever it is, snacks. And why do we keep making that same choice to shortchange ourselves every day when there is another way to live, when there is so many opportunities, when there is so much experience to have, and when there is the best life for you to experience? Why you keep making the choice to shortchange yourself day after day after day after day after day? Everything requires effort. Why not just choose to put the effort within you? Everything requires effort. When I had to go up that hill Saturday, it requires effort. When you have to get up in the morning, brush your teeth, bathe, everything requires effort. So much so that when I look at my aunt, the things that she's doing, even though it requires more effort, it looks effortless when she do it, So then it becomes part of you where there is really you can't even see the separation because everything that she does, it is of the best quality and it becomes part of your life. And I am telling you, everything she does requires more effort. When she is mopping, do you know what she do to mop? She boils a pot of hot water to mop the house. Everything requires more effort. Sometimes I look at her and say, what are you doing? And I'm telling you, every little thing that she does it to the best, whatever is the best of her ability. That is what she does. And I am telling you, it usually requires more effort. And now it becomes so much a part of her. There is nothing else but the best. There is nothing else. I remember once my other aunt wanted some accessories. She sent the accessories in different Ziploc bags. You know me, I was throwing that in something and all together mix up. Yeah. But, you know, whatever you're doing, just do the best. Just do the best in that moment for yourself, whatever is the best. You do not have to compare your best with anyone else's best. But whatever is the best in that moment, that is where your focus should really lie. And accept your truth for whatever it is. Because we are all living with different versions of whatever truth is. So my version different to what is Kim's, what is Marina's, what is Anastasia's, what is Lisa's. It is different and it is okay. This is not a cookie cutter existence. And start from where you are. And next week, I would also be asking about what did you start different? What did you do different this week? What did you do different? The thought that kept coming that you have been ignoring, try to pay some more attention to the thought and see what flows from there. You know? Are you all still there? I know everybody kind of quiet. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And I know it is now 8:20, but as everyone is on, and I know we said that this is talk your truth, and is there any area in your life that you think that you require clarity on? No? Okay.
This week, I found out a truth about myself.
Okay.
So I was doing some soul searching,
Okay.
and I realized that I did make some decisions
Mm-hmm.
in my past life because I had a deep seated fear that um, that I was not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And well, okay, let me talk about what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the person I choose for husband.
Mm-hmm.
I come and I get divorced, then I choose another partner after that, and it didn't work out. And I realized that, as a matter of fact, it wasn't like I make a choice. It was like I didn't thought I had a choice. I thought, okay, they come by, they say they love me, and I of myself didn't even know what I want.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what was my worth, and I just go along. And I start digging deep inside of me and realize that I was full of fear that if I don't hold on to what passed my way now, I may not get anybody else. So I have to hold on to this. And that was so freeing for me that I know here what you see now. I don't have to take every and anything that passed my way.
Mm-hmm.
I have a choice. And I am worthy and I don't have to settle, I settle, And now that I'm learning me and I know what is required for me to become who I supposed to be, I know the people are supposed to be hooking myself up with,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know? And I mean, it was just so, what I should say, liberating to know that I could accept, yeah, what? You don't have to take everything that passes at you.
You
You
do.
could let it go.
Yes.
Because what is for you will find you.
Yep.
And you could wait.
Mm-hmm.
You could wait. And it
Mm-hmm.
was very liberating. And it was good to know that I could have go down deep inside him and realize that it's fear I had
Yes.
that you ain't good enough, Gil. So let me tell you something. If you miss this train, you will never get another one. So hold on to it.
Mm.
And I don't have to do that.
No.
No, I don't have to do that. So this is my truth for this week. You understand? That I could kick fear out of the door and I could wait to align myself with who I supposed to be aligned with.
Yes. Yes. And during the waiting, remember that's also your opportunity to really learn about more about yourself, develop yourself more. Before you even open yourself to welcome anybody new. It's just again about being the best version of you. And Anastasia, I want to really say congratulations because you have certainly, 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 certainly come a very, very, very long way. And it's just to continue step by step, step by step, step by step. You don't have to compare yourself to anyone. It's really to just continue step by step, just on the same track that you're currently on right now. And that is what it is. And a lot of times people looking on, and if people heard your first conversation to this conversation is two totally different things. And you certainly come a long way. And you recognize that, hey, I could do this, because I remember that time too that you thought that you probably wasn't strong enough to do this, and you're recognizing, wait, I could really do this, and you can. And this is also to let everybody else know that you can do this. You can achieve the things you want to achieve. Just focus. Even when the distractions come, focus. Yes, it might distract you for 2 minutes, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years. But again, even in SGL's case, when he was in the moment, and then he decided, okay, when the opportunity comes again, I will focus and make a different choice. And that is all that it is. When the opportunity comes, are you going to stay where you are, or are you going to make a different choice? Know that when you make the different choice, you are going to see the same results. You are not going to see the false reality that you have created in your head and you think that is what the truth is. And that is why the first step is acceptance. You have to accept where you are and know where you want to go. Where you want to go. Sometimes you ask people, you know what you want? Everybody sit down. Well, I never really thought about it, you know. That is why your life consumed by others. Where is your focus placed? Where your focus placed? On whoever else doing whatever else. What do you want for you? Spend that time focused on what you want for yourself. And in doing so, you would realize how much of your time spent consumed by thoughts of other people. Try it for a day. Because sometimes you're in a pattern for so long, you can't even recognize how long you're in a pattern for. I see in two hands raised. Anastasia, yes, I know that your hand raised.
Oh, and I just wanted to say that I am now beginning to connect myself to my soul because I used to live in my mind and emotions and all of that, but like talking to my soul, I never used to do a question in my soul is something I never used to do.
Yeah.
And now that I start doing it, I don't know, like if I just feeling a peace coming over me,
Mm-hmm.
I feeling like if well, yeah, what? Like I just knowing me because I'm communicating with my soul,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to say that learning about the soul and how the soul have the map to your life and all this kind of thing. So it's really doing me a good. And
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to deepen my relationship with my soul.
Yes. And of course, for the ones who probably unaware, of course, what Anastasia is talking about is the information from the sessions. Because Anastasia don't miss Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. No time, no day. She does not miss. And then even in her speaking, you're recognizing so much of how these sessions really helping her along her journey in comparison to where she was initially. Because even for the Dowdy workshop which she attended, I tell you, oh, the Anastasia looking so nice. So, so, so radiant and beautiful. And I keep telling her, and I don't think she wasn't taking one. Until others came up and told her the same thing. And a lot of times I tell you guys, you're living and you don't know what, when, how. And I am telling you, you see those sessions Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they certainly help you listen, accelerate way, way, way faster than just coming on a Monday. Because there are so many elements that you're not factoring in as it relates to life, and it is affecting every area of your life. And of course, Monday is just one day out of the week. But I am telling you, if you come on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you would recognize the depth of how we think these minuscule things are not affecting us, and they are affecting us in deep, 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 deep ways. And where you're really truly supposed to be connected to, as Anastasia was just explaining, which is your soul, because that is the map for your life. And of course, these are things that are not really taught. And you think that the power is only within your mind, but trust me, it is elsewhere. Yes, Katrin, I'm seeing that you have your hand raised.
Was just here dancing and Anastasia was speaking because I'm not sure if I was where Anastasia was many years ago. Um, because I tended to spend long time between relationships. So I was never one of those persons, even in my teens, you have a boyfriend and you have about 45 other boys calling you. So when you dump that boyfriend or the boyfriend dump you, the chain reaction right there, right there, right there. No, that was never my reality. So, but the notion of thinking that you can't do better, and so you must remain where you are. Once I realized that, listen, this wasn't working for me. I didn't have the awareness to say, well, okay, let me find myself or anything like that. It started with, I just don't want to do this anymore. I can't go through this loss and loss. I just don't want to do this anymore. And you certainly don't want to, I didn't want to be engaging in relationships that had no meaning at all. And the next morning you'll just watch the person and you want to just shoot yourself. So it didn't make sense. And after a while, it didn't make sense to even. I remember saying to myself once, you mustn't let loneliness make you make poor decisions. If you feel lonely, then surely there must be something you could do with the time. But do not think that some of the decisions that you're making would help with the loneliness. And I mean, I really didn't want to spend so long off the market, eh? But to me, it gave, like Anastasia was saying, it gave a sense of direction. It gave a sense of, it gave you the opportunity to know who you are and what you wanted in a relationship, and to be able to say what you wanted versus what you didn't want, so that you ended up getting a lot of the same. Now, I may have taken it a bit too far. I may have taken it a bit too long, but then it was still a question of, for me, it felt better than the meaninglessness that had existed in the past. Because then you have to deal with how you showed up in the relationship, how the other person showed up in the relationship. And the last one was quite traumatic, quite traumatic. And the one before that was quite dramatic as well. So, um, those two coming back to back almost set me back into a sort of a space where it wasn't good. It wasn't a good space to be in. And I did not want to even consider relationships. I remember saying to myself, I don't have any more pieces of my heart to break. I just don't have any more. The next piece that goes, I will just drop dead. And so, but after a while, it gave you a chance to see, listen, this is doable. You could learn things, you could do things, and now I'm in the space of, you could go out to places, you could meet people. And the strange thing about it is that now you're getting persons who would show up in the space as almost a test of, do you really know where you want to go, or can you simply slide back into the old space? Because now you're facing, okay, it's been this long, and therefore it's not a question of will there be somebody, but it's a question of when will there be somebody now. So, and so now you're getting these little beings beings of purpose. I want to give them a positive spin. Little beings of purpose that show up with a little temptation. But I could, and it's gilded just enough for you to say, perhaps. And then you have to shake yourself and realize, if you say you're going to Shaguanas, you're going to Shaguanas. Let's go to Shaguanas direct. Let's not try a Rima via St. Augustine, and then you make your way to Mayaro, and then something else, and you might find yourself in Princestown, then heading back up north, get to Shaguanas. There is one other route that you should focus on. Stay there. And what I have found is that the little temptation seemed to just kind of fade away. fade away because you could recognize that this is not what you want. This it looks like a multiple choice question. You always have two answers really close, but this is not the right.
Yeah.
And so when Anastasia was talking, I was like, yeah, I could relate to that. I could relate to this sense that perhaps, but what I have done and trying to focus on is that knowing there is someone, and your doubt could keep it from getting there quickly. Your fear could stop it from getting there quickly. Your ability to be distracted will also, and you could make a choice which would send it even further away. So focus, focus, focus. I tell you, I like a marksman at the Olympics now. Just focus in. And anything else that will look like the wrong multiple choice question, you can stand on your own.
I
Mm-hmm.
feel
But
like we're on the same part right now.
yeah, that's what when you're talking, I could relate. I could relate. You
That's how we
talking
little
and
test the
Anastasia
style.
talking. Yes, I could relate. So now
Mm-hmm.
is a question of the multiple choice question that looks the same. And well, a few months ago, I was living through the example, and it was pinging in my mind. And then I sat with myself and I said, halfway is not where you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Halfway is not where you want to go. You know halfway. You've been in halfway. You come this far now for halfway. What is this half a loaf of bread business?
Mm-hmm.
No. Whole bread, fresh bread, new bread, nice, sweet, soft bread, tasting delicious bread, or no bread.
Yeah.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So, Anastasia, girl, I could relate. I could.
Halfway is really not where it is. It is not. It is not. And you're just shortchanging yourself. You are not affecting anybody else but yourself. Spending time trying to change others is wasting your time. You're not affecting anybody else, and you're moving further and further away from achieving your goals because the time spent elsewhere instead of on yourself. So the focus should really, really, really be you. And from focusing on you, then is where you would realize that everything would flow from there. But start with you first. Start with you first. A lot of times you're looking to help and help and help, and sometimes you help, and after we help, and we say, and I tried to help this person, and this person they did not even require your help because they are there for a reason, because there is something that they have to learn. Why are you trying to shorten their learning process? They are there for a reason. So focus on yourself. Does anyone else require any clarity before we continue? No? All right. So let me let you know. And of course, as we were speaking earlier about really the benefits of the Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursdays, because if you really want to accelerate your learning experience, trust me, it would certainly be done via premium membership. So let me let you all know just now what the schedule is for this week. All right, just a minute. All right, just 1 minute. I'm not sure why this came off. So let me try to share again. All right. So for this upcoming week, of course, we have holidays both on Thursday and on Friday, and we are also closed on Saturday. So tomorrow we have counseling and consultations, and then from 6 over coming internal resistance, which would be which you would be learning about how to act when motivation is low due to challenges. And then, of course, we have the Fuel and Flex full body workout. And on Wednesday, counseling and consultations. And from 6, the role of stillness, which was discussed but very short as it relates to meditation and just sitting and taking deep breaths. So it will be all about quiet thought and reflection. And even, of course, you all heard for yourself how this also helped Anastasia with moving from where she was to where she currently stands. And of course, again, from 7, we have the Fuel and Flex full body workout. And for this week only, with the Fuel and Flex full body workout, because of the holidays, it would be on Tuesday and Wednesday instead of Tuesday and Thursday. And it's from 7 to 8. For premium members, you can also log on online and be part of it. And on the 28th, we have a road trip coming up. And for the ones who are outside of Trinidad, do not worry, we will be in a country near you sometime soon. So just look out for it. And we would be going to Las Cuevas Beach on Saturday, the 28th of June. And we would spend the day from 9 till about 3. And if you are interested, you can WhatsApp Road Trip Anastasia. I hope to see you there. To 336-1809 for more information. And if you need transport, please reach out to us. We are meeting at the Pillars for 8 a.m.
I
And
I have a previous engagement,
oh,
so I
good.
won't be
Sorry,
able to
sorry,
come.
sorry. Don't worry. This is the first of many, so that's fine. We would certainly see you on the next one. And guys, are you ready for the Genius Goals question for tonight? And it will be posted at 9 p.m. And the Genius Goals question states, first, what is your truth? No, sorry, what is your current truth? The second part is, what do you want for your life? So the first part is, what is your current truth? Second part, what do you want for your life? And then the third, even if you don't get it written down, that's fine because it would be posted online throughout the week. What is required of you to bridge the gap between the two? So let me read the third part again. What is required of you to bridge the gap between the two? Because where you currently stand and what you want for your life, how are you going to bridge the gap? So again, you have another opportunity to put some things into practice. Because yes, where you stand, yes, you have accepted where you are, but what do you want? And again, spending some time with yourself to find out how you're bridging the gap, you would be able to determine how you would be able to get there. So guys, thank you for tonight's session. I know it went a little late, it's 8:44. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. See you all back here. Whatever your truth is, do not feel ashamed. Do not feel embarrassed. You are where you are supposed to be. You are where you are meant to be. And just move on from there. You do not have to remain stuck. You can make a different choice in a moment and experience something new. All right, guys. So thank you. Have a great night. Have a great week. And see you all next Monday. Same place, same time. Good
Good
night,
night.
everyone.
Good evening, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.